Coming up today on LMM, I compare Gronks, try to get this one to run, and then take it apart. Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. Recently, I was at the Forest of Dean Railway for their Autumn Gala, which is a video you'll be seeing soon on the channel. But before I get onto that, whilst I was there, I was presented with this. Now this you'll probably recognise as the ubiquitous standard British Railway shunter. They carry many a nickname like Gronk or Jocko or just the shunter. And generally we're referring to a Class 08, but this one is a Lima 09. Hidden under a repaint or perhaps just lost to the depths of time, we can just make out the running number of 3004. And this is one of the liveries of one of the launch models that first appeared in the Lima catalogue in 1978, and this remained in production all the way up to the 80s, at which point Lima upgraded the chassis, and then this remained in production till the end of Lima itself. Now this one we can see has had quite a hard life because there's actual corrosion rust forming on the cranks here. And then when we look at the condition of the wheels, well, it's clear that this one has not run for some time because they are filthy. This one also has some weird kind of white corrosion stuff going on down here as well. The body shell is entirely plastic. We have plastic handrails here and here, plastic detailing all along here, and to be honest, although there's no additional items stuck onto it, it all looks rather well done. On the back, there's the detail for where the lights are and also the electrical wires that would run between them. Although they're not picked out, they're just in the same body shell green, as is absolutely everything on the model apart from the rear buffer beam. The buffer beam also has these two retaining lugs here which kind of spoil the look of it, which is where the chassis clips into the body shell. And then it has the same detail here with the lights, the pipework for it here, and the grille is modelled here. Obviously it doesn't move and it's just moulded detail, and upsetting many members of the model railway fraternity, these are not sprung buffers, they are just moulded. Not that it makes any difference on a 00 gauge model because you have the coupling hook here. I mean, I don't know why we get so bothered about having sprung buffers, because unless you're going to put a proper drawbar on it, which this also doesn't have, you'll notice here there is no drawbar, no air pipes, no vac pipes, nothing. Unless you've got that modelled and you're going to actually use the drawbar to pull stuff, having sprung buffers is an entirely pointless thing. For an older model, there's a load of detail, like all these rivets around on the cab. There's a space here for where your builder's plate would go, which isn't provided, but you could get third party. There's no glazing, so I can stick that inside there, but things like the handles here and there are modelled. It's quite a nice base, you could do a lot with this. Obviously, the biggest problem with this is the fact that it is just one colour, which makes it look quite plasticky. But when we consider the age of the model, it is instantly recognisable as what it's meant to be, and with a bit of weathering and modelling and extra paint, this could be turned into a really nice model. The amount of detail is even more impressive when you consider what Hornby was doing at the same time. I mean, just look at this chassis. This is the standard 060 chassis, of which they've managed to stretch an 08 on top of, and Hornby kept making this in the railroad range up to the 2010s, which is why I never had an 08, because it never looked right. Having the two side by side really shows the differences between the manufacturers and the designs. Ignoring the fact that the wheels down here are entirely wrong, over here on the side you'll notice that there is a missing compartment which the 09 has over here. Now, I don't know what that holds, but it's one of the main differences between the two because they are very, very similar. Interestingly, the 08 has got just steps modelled on the side here, whereas the 09 doesn't. I guess maybe they didn't need to go on top of it like they did on the 09, and obviously the front radiators are different. And of course, this looks so much better with the short wheelbase, the outside frames with the cranks on the outside, compared to this, which just looks wrong, having a more branch line locomotive look with a jinty chassis underneath it, which is just the wrong chassis. Now, of course, there is a reason that these two look so similar, and that's because this one is built from one of these. The first 26 of the real 09s were converted from 08s. The big difference is a change to the gearbox, going from a maximum of 15 miles an hour to 27.5 miles an hour. So by modifying the 08 and reducing the tractive effort slightly, you ended up with the 09, which was capable of handling a short distance freight train and even working the occasional passenger services. In terms of preservation, it means that an 09 is able to keep up with a heritage timetable. You see, we have a line speed of 25 miles an hour, which an 09 can do quite happily. An 08, however, maxes out at 15, which means it just can't do a timetable, and even today on heritage railways, it means an 08 stays in the yard doing shunting. The 09s were introduced from 1959 to 1962 and originally operated on the southern region of British Railways. However, they soon spread all over the network, and in 1992 a further 12 were created. The 08 itself is based upon the LMS 12033 class, which then became the Class 11. Then there's a version with different engines and transmissions, which are basically the Class 10, and over 1,000 of these similar looking machines were built. And as of 2020, there were still over 100 08 on the national network, and you can see my video coming up here of when I went and chased one as it made its way from Felixstowe to Ipswich. And if you want to be able to see one of these machines in real life for yourself, no less than 12 of them have been preserved on places like the Severn Valley, the Avon Valley and the West Somerset Railway. So following a crash course in Gronk history, let's get back to the case at hand and see what happens when we apply some power to this. And so we'll place it onto the rolling road. So let's give it some power. Absolutely nothing. You could say it's as dead as a dodo. So let's have a look inside this. So to release the body, on the front here we have a body retaining screw. So we just have to undo this like that, and then it should just lift out like that. Well, that's the state of the motor. That looks pretty disgusting. Well, obviously this has not had a service in quite some time. It's clear to see here that the gears have not had any kind of lubrication for years. So I'm going to take a set of croc clips and just take them straight onto the contacts here and here and see what happens now. It's alive! This is a very positive start. By putting power directly to the motor, it sprung straight back into life, which shows us that it's going to be a problem with the pickups. It's not getting electricity from the track, which, judging on the state of the wheels, is no real surprise. So it's obviously overdue a service, and before we try cleaning the wheels, we're going to give the thing a service to make sure everything's nicely lubricated in there before we force it to do some more work. First stage is just get rid of all of whatever this is. Just a brush is a great way to go about it, making sure there's none of that still kicking around in the motor or in the bits where it could work its way into the motion. And then it's just the same on this side. And then we're going to add a bit of oil to the main bearing there, then into here, a little splodge onto the main gear, onto there, onto the pivot for that, and then just behind the wheel set onto the main gear down there. And then we're going to put a little bit onto the main crank here, the rods here, here, on there, and over there as well. And just a bit of oil across this main gear, just going to make sure there is oil in the whole system. And then just the same on this side, give everything just a little bit of an oil, make sure that everything has got a little bit of lubrication. Then clearly, as this hasn't been run for a bit, we're going to take off the base plate by undoing these two to have a look at what's underneath. And then we just have to squeeze something under there, and that gives us our axles like so, which are definitely overdue a clean. So all we're doing is just giving a good dollop of oil onto this to hopefully work in and help these axles move around. And then it's time just to put this back, so that slots in there and then pushes down to be a nice snug fit. Replace the screws, and then it's pick it up and we'll put it onto my impromptu wheel free and see what happens when we put the power onto it again. So we'll clip power directed to the contacts here and here again, like before. And here we go again. Oh, well already that's a huge improvement. Look at that. Oh, that's great. Let's see what the crawl's like. Oh, for a 70s Lima model, that's a pretty good crawl. And it runs proper smooth. Oh, look at that go. Look at the state of that. No wonder it didn't want to run. But they are absolutely filthy. So let's see if any of these wheels got any conductivity at all if we go direct onto it. So, oh yeah, there's a bit there. How about here? Nothing on the middle. And then, oh yeah, something on the back. So time for the best thing I've ever bought. This. These things are fantastic. You've got a wire brush here and here. They're not too abrasive to damage your wheels, but they will take everything off them. Normally you put it on your layout because you've got to pick up here and here. But for what I'm doing today, I'm going to just attach my croc clips to it like that and like so. And now that will work. And so we just place this on there, like so. Well, there we go. That's looking a lot better. Now, I'm not too worried about the ones in the middle because they don't actually pick up any power. They don't have pickups, so they can stay dirty. Whereas these look all right. So let's find out if this wants to work on the rolling road. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, that's hugely satisfying. Something that didn't run, running again. And so now it's just put this back into its shell. So we slide it in at the back to clip it into the lugs and then just give it a little push. Put the body retaining screw back in and then do that up. And now hopefully one working Class 09. So let's go put it back on the rolling road. Now it's got a body on. And then on we go like that. Oh, well, that is superb, isn't it? Oh, well, I'm proper impressed with that. But let's go power up my module and we'll stick it on there. I even went and picked up the old Hornby one and took that for a spin. So there we go. Something that wasn't working, but now is. Hauling another Lima product, which is this transformer. And this is a train that you'll be able to see if you come and see us at the NEC, because I'm going to be running this with my new transformer wagon, both Lima products. And it'll be nice to see something a bit old and a bit unusual travelling up and down the Modular, which is going to be entirely new. So you won't see this section there unless something's gone terribly wrong, because it's all meant to be all new bits just for this show. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this video of taking this apart and making it work again. Let me know in the comments below, did you think it would run? Of course you did, it's a Lima, of course it'll go. And with that, thank you all very much for watching and I hope to see you next time. And of course, if you have enjoyed this, how about clicking somewhere over there for some other similar videos of doing model railway stuff and building the Modular. And with that, well, it's been a good job jobbed. Ta-ra.